My name is Anna. I'm 22 years old. I live with my family in a small house, and my life is not easy. Every day I work in a small shop where I stand on my feet for many hours. I must support my family because they do not have much money. One evening, my friend asked me to go to a party. I decided to go because I wanted to have fun, even if only for one night. When we arrived, the room was full of music and many rich people were there. They laughed loudly and held expensive drinks. Then I saw him. He was standing alone. His name was Robert. He was older than me, perhaps 50 or 60 years old. He wore a dark, expensive suit. Robert did not talk to anyone. He just stood there quietly. Robert saw me, and my heart began to beat fast. He walked towards me and said, "Hello, your eyes are very beautiful." My heart jumped. Slowly, we began to talk. Robert asked me about myself, and then he told me about his luxurious life. I listened to every word. Robert made me feel important. I decided to stay close to him. I smiled at him and used my charm. This was my chance. I had waited a long time for a change. I did not care that Robert was old. I only cared about the life he could give me, a life without money problems. Robert invited me to have a drink in a room upstairs for some privacy. I agreed. I followed him up the stairs, feeling nervous but excited. The room was warm and dark. Robert offered me a drink, and I took it. He sat close to me on the sofa and held my hand. That night, I chose him. I spent the night with him. The next morning, I woke up. The room looked very different in the daylight. It felt cold and empty. I saw Robert sitting on the edge of the bed, looking down at the floor. His face was full of worry. I looked around the room more carefully. This was not a big, expensive hotel room. It was a very small apartment. The walls were old and the furniture was cheap. It was not the kind of place a rich man would live. I looked at Robert again. He avoided my eyes. I could see fear in his face. Robert was not rich. He did not have the wonderful life he described. He was just a worried older man. I felt angry. Robert had lied to me about everything. He made me believe in a dream just to impress me. I felt used and foolish. I wanted to scream, but no words came out. I remembered how he made me feel special. How could someone who lied so much make me feel so good? My heart felt heavy. I needed to know the truth. I watched Robert leave the small apartment, and I followed him. He walked for a long time. Finally, he stopped at a big house. It looked like a real wealthy home. Robert went inside. I waited a few minutes, then walked to the front door. I took a deep breath and knocked. The door opened. A woman stood there. She looked older than me, and her clothes were simple. The woman asked, "Can I help you?" I wanted to ask about Robert and his lies, but before I could speak, Robert appeared behind the woman. His face was pale with fear. The woman looked at Robert, then back at me. I froze. The woman asked again, "Who are you looking for?" I could not speak. Robert stood there, silent and afraid. Then the woman looked into my eyes and said, "I am his wife." My heart stopped. Tears filled my eyes. Robert was not just poor, he was married. My face felt hot with shame and anger. I shouted at Robert, "You lied to me. You told me you were rich. You took me to a dirty apartment. You made me believe you were special." The woman, his wife, stood still. She did not look surprised. She looked at Robert with cold eyes. It was like she knew all his secrets already. I looked at his wife and said, "He told me he was lonely. He said I was different. He is a liar and a cheat." His wife finally spoke. She said, "Robert has nothing. He has no money. He lost it all years ago when he ruined his business." She looked at him with disgust. "Robert lives here in my house. He lives by my rules." She continued, "He is nothing without me. He often tries to find someone new, someone young." Robert looked at me, and I saw his desperation. He wanted to feel young again, even for one night. He held on to me because I made him forget his reality. I felt angry at myself for believing him. I walked out of the big house, leaving Robert and his wife behind. Later that day, Robert found me outside the shop where I worked. He looked tired and much older than before. He seemed small and broken. He looked at me and said, "Anna, I am so sorry for everything. I am sorry for the lies and the pain I caused you. I am so lonely. My wife controls my whole life, my money, my home, my time. I have nothing. I am just a shadow. But you, Anna, you made me feel alive again. With you, I felt like a different man. I felt important. I know it is wrong to lie, but I just wanted to feel that way one last time." His words touched my heart, but the pain from his lies was still there. I looked at his weak hands. I understood then that I could not save him. Robert was a grown man, but he lived a child's life controlled by another. His choices were not his own. We were both lost, but in our own separate ways. There was nothing left to say. I walked away, leaving Robert alone. I went home that night and sat on my bed. I thought about everything. I wanted a better life and money. This wish made me blind. I made a mistake. I trusted Robert because I thought he could give me my dream life. We both used each other. I learned something important. If I want a better life, I must build it myself. I cannot wait for someone else to give it to me. I have to work for it. I have to be strong. My future is in my own hands. I will learn from my mistakes. Question for the audience. If you were in my place, would you forgive Robert or leave him like I did? If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.